Today, futures on US stock indexes are rising, the US dollar index is declining, and the USD CAD pair is incurring losses. Today, futures on the US stock indexes surged by more than 1%. Meanwhile, American stock investors are focused on the upcoming US presidential election, which will take place on Tuesday. Thus, the Dow Jones Industrial Average increased by 1.55%. The Nasdaq Composite spiked by 1.01%, and the S&P 500 soared by 1.31%. In fact, the Nasdaq Composite fell by around 2.5% on Friday. Today, investors are focused on the upcoming US presidential election, which will take place on November 3rd. The Republican candidate is current US President Donald Trump. The Democratic candidate is Joe Biden. According to estimates, Biden is leading over Trump in national polls. However, the situation in some states is still uncertain. Apart from that, a report on the US manufacturing business activity is set to be published today. Thus, the US manufacturing PMI is estimated to increase by 55.8 in October. The index was 55.4 in September, and most likely business activity will retain its positive dynamics as the US manufacturing sector is recovering well. At the same time, the market US manufacturing PMI published earlier showed only a slight improvement in the reading in October. The US dollar index, or the rate of the greenback against a basket of 6 major currencies, rose by 0.09% during the day to the level of 94.12. At the time of writing this article, the US dollar index was down by 0.02% to 94.00. The USD CAD pair is declining today. At the time of preparing this material, the pair fell by 0.36%. The US dollar is trading near the 1.3270 mark against the Canadian dollar today. It's impossible to predict the outcome of this week. The most reasonable assumptions may turn out to be wrong in this case. The US presidential election, which will take place tomorrow, could trigger market jitters. Therefore, if any of the presidential candidates refuses to accept the voting results, fluctuations are likely to be extremely sharp. For example, within 24 hours of the 2016 presidential election, the trading range for the Nasdaq Composite was as much as 500 pips. Another uncertainty remains the coronavirus. The number of countries introducing quarantine measures is growing. Last weekend, the United Kingdom made a decision to impose lockdown restrictions. Most likely, other countries will follow its lead. Meanwhile, only time will show what will happen in the United States. That's all for today. We keep monitoring the financial market situation. Subscribe to our channel and see you tomorrow.